To Take 30 News, I'm Hannah Vandie. This has been a semester like no other at Mississippi State University. Many adjustments have been made this fall in response to the outbreak of COVID-19, including using different classroom venues.
Being on a basketball court and having the Jumbotron behind me, that's weird.
Classes are now being conducted in non-traditional environments, such as the Humphrey Coliseum, to maintain social distancing during this global pandemic. In addition, due to the drastic change in classroom settings and COVID-19, professors have had to make adjustments to accommodate for this semester.
My day-to-day life has changed a lot. This one class is way more work than I put into a single class probably in my entire 16-year career. And that's mostly because the practical way that I'm teaching it, because of students who are in quarantine and can't make class, I'm basically teaching two classes, one that's online and one that's face-to-face.
The logistics of having to maintain two different platforms of teaching requires major adjustments, even for students.
It's very different from what I'm used to, because now I have 600 kids in the classroom and I'm used to having about 30. And it's most of the time he just listening and we taking notes. But sometimes for participation, he have us to clap or snap for yes or no question. Or sometimes if it's an open answer question, we have to yell our answer out. So he can be able to hear us depending on how far that we're sitting up. And then you have to take 6 feet apart and make sure you keep your mask on the proper way.
In some classes, such as this one, instead of a normal midterm exam, weekly assignments are being given to better measure the engagement of the students due to low attendance rates in the class. My name is Ernie Shadukes for Take 30 News.
For students who feel they are struggling with a class, tutoring services are provided at MSU's Learning Center. For more information, visit the website www.tlc.msstate.edu. Through the COVID-19 pandemic, the Mississippi State custodial crew has gone above and beyond their call of duty to provide clean facilities for students to inhabit. Take 30's Conrad has the story.
Cowbell Well is an initiative that Mississippi State University instilled coming into the fall semester, and it includes the deep cleaning of facilities that students usually frequent, like the Culvert Student Union. MSU is hitting the 2-month mark of classes back in session on campus, and students are trying to find ways to get back to the old normal. The Culvert Student Union was a big hangout spot and was usually packed all days of the year. Now, though, it is much different. Lunchtime, and there are no lines. Even at Chick-fil-A. The lack of students would make you think there is worry about the union and other facilities' cleanliness. But as Jay Selzer says, there are procedures put into place.
Well, what we're doing is we've been cleaning the windows and the doors and the chairs, tables, and then garbage cans. Just the general cleaning.
Cowbell Health enacted social distancing at lines at the restaurants to try and keep students safe.
Well, we do our best to keep it clean, to provide a safe environment for them.
Students can still eat and meet safely with the new protocols and hopefully soon get back to the old normal they knew.
For more information on safety protocols and facilities, visit www.msstate.edu/COVID-19. Homecoming voting will be happening this coming Tuesday on September 29th. MSU students are encouraged to log on to Cowbell Connect between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. to help decide who the newest senators and homecoming king and queen will be. Here is Shelby Mason talking about homecoming.
So for homecoming, the process to run for homecoming queen or king is to fill out an application. It has just a few questions on it, like what is homecoming about and what does it mean to you? And really for me, that was about what Mississippi State has given me. So I really decided to run because I really care about the students here and how we are really a Bulldog family. So this is more about us and not me.
Visit www.msstate.campuslabs.com/engage for more information and voting. 4 Mississippi legislative districts are returning to the polls in 3 weeks for a special election runoff. On Tuesday, Starkville, Eupora, and Winona voted to replace Representative Gary Jackson, who resigned on June 30th. Bart Williams and Joycey Meek Yates received the most votes, respectively. They will be on the ballot on October 13th. Governor Tate Reeves called for the election after the resignation of 4 state lawmakers. Classes have looked a little different this year due to the pandemic. On campus, freshman navigators try their best to help the incoming students succeed in school. Stay tuned later for more information about the story on the recent senator who passed away.
Across the country. Some are battling, others vertebral and spinal conditions. And as rewarding as our work often is, it can be frustrating at times. That's because brain and nervous system conditions are difficult to diagnose and treat, especially when they affect patients who can't talk. A while back, we saw a chance to start something special here. Introducing innovative imaging to better understand brain and spinal cord diseases in cats and dogs. Having that type of information makes a substantial difference when developing treatment and surgical plans. It also aids in personalizing the rehabilitation process. The toughest part of our job comes when our patients are well enough to go home. As thrilled as we are to see them walk again, a big piece of our heart goes out the door when they leave.
Starkville-Oktibbeha Consolidated School District is ending one pathway for students to learn. Find out why after the break. A role model who advocated for women's rights in the LGBTQ community died on September 18th.
What is the difference between a bookkeeper in New York's Garment District and a Supreme Court justice? Just one generation, my mother's life and mine bear witness. Where else but in America could that happen?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a leader in women's rights, died at the age of 87.
It has been said that Ruth wanted to be an opera virtuoso, but became a rock star instead. But she chose the law. Subjected to discrimination in law school and the job market because she was a woman, Ruth would grow to become the leading advocate fighting such discrimination in court.
I'm on the campus of Mississippi State University to see if college students know who she is and what she stood for.
I have no idea who that is, but I just know that she was involved in our government, and we learned in government this week that she passed away a year ago.
Yeah, she was a Supreme Court justice, and I think she was left-leaning, more Democratic side. I'm not the best at politics, so I don't really know.
I know that she is really big on women's rights and women's equality.
She was the second woman appointed to the highest court in America and is the first woman and Jewish person to lie in the state at the Capitol. Former U.S. Representative Ron Paul appeared to have suffered a stroke on his talk show today. The former Texas representative was live streaming on YouTube when he suffered the medical incident. Ron Paul's Twitter account tweeted, "I am doing fine. Thank you for your concern." The 85-year-old had a thumbs up picture posted. Roughly 300 students in the Starkville-Oktibbeha County School District in grades 8 through 12 began hybrid learning at the beginning of the 2020 school year. However, starting October 5th, students will choose between traditional or virtual learning exclusively. Students will not be able to learn the process information as they usually have been, the reason for the school district making the switch. The city of Starkville will be receiving at least $414,000 in federal relief funds from the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency to help reimburse in COVID-related costs. In a MEMA press release, Starkville was listed as one of the 5 cities that the agency approved for the reimbursement through the CARES Act approved by Congress in March. Coming up, we will look at the effect of COVID on churches and the effects of this week's rain in the Starkville and MSU community.
The sense of place. We all have it. Often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow. Have you ever thought about what it would take to eliminate one of the most dreaded illnesses of the year? At Mississippi State University, we're dreaming big, fast on the heels of scientific discoveries that will lead to the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of flu and other illnesses. For researchers, the biggest challenge is keeping pace with viruses that are constantly evolving to become more contagious. But at Mississippi State, we have the upper hand. Our scientists are working with teams around the world to predict when and where new viruses will emerge, combining forces to create flu vaccines before epidemics actually hit. That's because, as a premier research university, we believe it is our responsibility to help improve the lives of those around us. And we're working hard to help create a world where the flu is something children will one day read about in history books.
After many weeks of no rain and hot, humid weather, Starkville experienced a large amount of rainfall throughout the past week. Puddling and flash flooding has made roads in Starkville difficult to navigate. After 3 straight days of downpour, many locals and students wonder about the effects after such a long time with no rain.
Well, we're actually seeing a lot of this rain due to Tropical Storm Beta that made landfall on Tuesday on the coast of Texas. And so as it moved up through the coast of Texas into Louisiana is when we started seeing more rain coming into our area. And we actually really needed this rain because we were getting closer to getting to a drought. Now this rain could bring up to 1 to 5 inches of rain into the area, and we are seeing 5 inches in Columbus, so this could cause some flash flooding and urban flooding. So temperatures this weekend are going to be in the lower 80s, which is getting closer to our average for this time of year. And then we are expecting to be more dry as well. So we are seeing a few isolated thunderstorms and showers in the forecast, but these are isolated. So we could see maybe 1 or 2, but they won't be widespread. And so it is going to be a pretty warm weekend, and we are going to be mostly dry.
Church, as some of us knew, shifted when the pandemic began. Take 30's Quianna Harrington has more on what change has done for 2 Starkville churches.
We've been living in the age of technology and streaming for some time now. Many churches have adopted streaming as a means of reaching larger audiences. When the pandemic began and things began to shut down, virtual church service continued for most, but for some churches like First Presbyterian Church here in Starkville, the pandemic forced them to incorporate streaming services for its members. Pastor Martin Leifer of FPC unfolds the bright side of the effects the pandemic had on his congregation.
it was on the planning chart for several years. So one of the silver linings in the dark cloud of the COVID pandemic was it forced our folks who had been looking at that.
Although streaming was anticipated for FPC, Pastor Leifer illustrates his personal challenges with live streaming.
It also would have me preaching differently than I would to a crowd, because I would preach louder than I am talking to you right now, but not as much as I would when I'm talking to a whole congregation.
Live streaming for First Baptist Church of Starkville was routine for church service, but the importance of reaching the congregation online became a priority during the pandemic. FBC's Communications Department Head Joshua Rogers expounds on how streaming service became a more important tool for their entire congregation.
We did online services for our 2 services that we were having regularly, and we had a decent number of people that would watch each weekend, but obviously after the pandemic it just really became far more important that we offer something online for our congregation so they could attend from home if they wanted, because that really is ultimately the safest thing.
Ropes and tape surround the pews of the sanctuary at FBC, ensuring safe services for the congregation.
Well, our services are mostly back to normal, but as normal as they can be. So we still offer 3 limited services each weekend. And now we offer childcare along with those services, and we have our Sunday school classes are starting back up. But all of that takes place in a social distanced manner. And we just, again, it is our priority that we keep people safe on the weekend and offer them a safe way for them to worship, whether that be online or in a social distance service in our sanctuary. We just want to make sure we keep people connected and keep sharing the gospel.
I am Quianna Harrington for Take 30 News.
Sports are back on campus after over 100 days. After the break, sports anchor Miles Conrad will tell us who's playing and what to expect this weekend. Take 30 Sports is up next.
When it comes to life on the coast, it's the world beneath the waves that supports the world above. So when an integral part of a delicate ecosystem disappears, economies on land are disrupted and livelihoods are lost. At Mississippi State University, we're aggressively confronting this issue on the Mississippi coast, where 90% of the local oyster population has vanished over the past decade due to circumstances both natural and man-made. In response, we're building computer models to simulate oyster movement and sustainability, models to determine strategic placement of artificial reefs to not only boost the dwindling food source, but to aid in coastal storm resilience and water filtration. It's a project that's paving the way for a healthier, cleaner coastline and a rejuvenated local economy. And for us here at MSU, that's more than just a good cause. It's one we can sink our teeth into. Flight. It's driven mankind's dreams for centuries. The ability to soar above the earth, to travel to faraway places, to connect distant points. Manned flights to the moon and space were once the stars for which we reached. Now, unmanned aircraft are the future. At Mississippi State University, our teams are developing unmatched unmanned aircraft systems for an array of critical applications. We're so good at it, the Federal Aviation Administration named MSU a Center of Excellence in the field, asking us to lead the team that's creating the operating regulations for unmanned aircraft systems worldwide. So essentially, we're writing the flight plan for an industry that is the future. Our work means better information, more opportunity, and limitless horizons for you. The sky really is the only limit.
Welcome to Take 30 Sports. I'm Miles Conrad. The Mike Leach era officially begins Saturday as the Bulldogs travel to Death Valley to take on the LSU Tigers. The game kicks off at 2:30 on CBS as the game of the week. The defending national champions have been put on upset alert by many football analysts as the air raid offense is starting in the SEC. There's a new face at quarterback as KJ Costello comes in from Stanford, and a familiar face, Garrett Schrader, moves to wide receiver. Coach Leach talked on the Dog Talk radio show about what he saw during this week's practices.
Playing faster. You know, I don't think it's anything real specific, but we're doing a good job playing faster. You know, there's less indecision and that sort of thing, and so I think that's been really positive this week.
Fans are eagerly waiting to see the changes Coach Leach brings to Stark Vegas.
I think LSU is going to be overrated right now. They lost a lot of people to the draft last year, so I think that if we have a chance to upset somebody, it's going to be LSU this first weekend. So I'm looking forward to watching it and seeing if our predictions and our hopes are true.
Mississippi State and LSU have previously met 113 times, with LSU leading the series 75-35, along with 3 ties. LSU won last year's meeting in Starkville 36-13 thanks to Heisman-winning quarterback Joe Burrow, who had 327 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. The last time Mississippi State was in 2017 with a 37-7 victory led by quarterback Nick Fitzgerald. This year, LSU is a 16.5-point favorite over the Bulldogs heading into tomorrow afternoon's game. Once again, number 6 ranked LSU hosts Mississippi State this Saturday at 2:30 on CBS. Now we go from state to Sunday. But we'll start last night as former MSU punter Logan Cook got more action than he intended for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars were stopped on nearly all possessions against the Dolphins, and Cook punted 152 yards. The defensive studs Jonathan Abram, Jeffrey Simmons, Montez Sweat, Willie Gay Jr., along with the Eagles' Fletcher Cox and Darius Slay, look to continue their dominant season. Dak Prescott and KJ Wright face off in Seattle on America's Game of the Week on Fox. And the Sunday night Green Bay Packers versus New Orleans Saints game, and Monday night Kansas City versus the Baltimore Ravens each have 5 former Bulldogs playing. Well, the Bulldogs are back home on their home pitch, and with more information, we'll go to Cam Bell, who's got more on your Bulldogs.
Mississippi State soccer team is kicking off its first game of the season against Alabama, who is ranked number 15 in the nation. The game tonight will be the first game on campus in 101 days, but it won't be under its usual conditions due to COVID-19. Mississippi State has implemented ways in order for fans to still come out and have fun while also maintaining a peace of mind during these times. At the Mississippi State Soccer Complex, Mississippi State is offering circles like these for families up to 4 to practice safe social distancing while watching the soccer game. There are 133 of these circles found drawn in the grass around the field. Lawn chairs will be permitted by the stands and behind one of the goalposts, and grandstand seating will be limited to those fans that come out tonight. Despite the precautions, fans are just excited to get out and watch sports again. Flora Dew says her and her family are completely comfortable with tonight's game.
I'm super excited about soccer coming back tonight. I think it's been a while since we've had sports on campus, so I know we're all ready. Me and my family are coming tonight, and I feel really safe knowing that we have, social distancing guidelines in place to keep everyone protected.
The game starts at 6 tonight, and paperless concessions will be available an hour before the game kicks off. And face coverings will be heavily enforced. I'm Camion Bell with Take 30 News.
Be sure to grab a raincoat and head out to watch your Bulldogs battle the tide tonight. Well, coming up after the break, Harrington will tell us what this person was doing outside a celebrity's house. Take 30 will be right back.
When you're the best, everyone wants to see what you'll do next. At Mississippi State University, our team of world-class rocket engineers is venturing beyond boundaries, building rockets like none before. We're launching a new era of space exploration. We've developed cutting-edge technology that's helping us build a rocket that can travel at 4 times the speed of sound. Fast? Yes, but more importantly, revolutionary. For you and for a space program that produces many of the conveniences we enjoy today. We're shaping your life in ways you never dreamed. What's next? Watch us and see.
game, Among Us, has recently announced they will not be going forward with the sequel they announced just 36 days ago. They have made the decision to put the content intended for Among Us 2 into the current version of the game. The game is currently the third most played game on the gaming platform Steam and has more than 10 million owners on that same platform alone. America's Got Talent has closed the book on season 15, and the 2020 winner is Brandon Leak. Leak is from Stockton, California, and was loved by his fans for his spoken word pieces during the competition. There was even a surprise message from Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, for competitor Archie Williams. The 72nd Emmy Awards featured a new twist as a result of COVID-19. Nominees had to present and accept awards from home, but the most shocking thing was people standing outside the nominees' homes in hazmat suits holding an Emmy that they would receive if they won. If the nominee did not win, then the employee simply walked away from the home. There is good news for fans of the hit family drama, This Is Us. The NBC show will enter its 5th season with a 2-hour premiere on October 27th. This is a shift from the original air date of November 10th. Production for season 5 began on September 24th. During the 2019-2020 season, This Is Us was ranked at television's #1 drama.